Hey guys, I'm back again with another episode of Brian Meets Reality. Now, I know it's been almost a month since I uploaded a video here on this channel. It's just hard trying to juggle two channels at once, and I'm still trying to navigate through that. But here we are. Today, I want to talk about a topic that's really important. It's been talked about over the weekend. Men and women are going back and forth with one another over the Supreme Court justice decision of overturning Roe v. Wade, and I really want to get into this. But before we even talk about that and the effects that it have on the dynamic between men and women, I just want to give you my stance as far as abortion is concerned, because I don't think I ever shared this with you guys. So if you guys don't know, I'm pro-life. My entire family in this house is pro-life. Now, the reason why I don't really talk about it much because it's a touchy topic. But even though I'm pro-life, I was never the one to just, you know, cared about what women do with their body as long as you're not in a relationship with me. If you just some random woman, I don't care what you do with your body. But when it came to you being in a relationship with me, that's where this situation comes up. And I always every woman that I come in encounter with, or if I'm planning to be in a serious relationship with, I always let them know that I'm pro life, so they can make their decision on their own whether or not they want to deal with me when the time comes. If she ever happens to be pregnant, then we know where we stand. And I think the important part about relationships are you have to vet people out. You got to know if a person's goals, beliefs, and just morality and values line up with yours, or pretty much have some comparison with one another, in order for you to yield the outcome that you want. And that's the problem. No one is vetting out their partners. So when these situations arises, that's where the issue comes in. Now, when it comes to abortion with me, especially as a man, the thing I never like about abortions is the fact is that I have no say in whether or not the child can come through this world, or just not come to this world at all. All the power goes to the woman. Even though I took part in the process of creating that child, me as a man, I have no say in whether or not my child is born. And that's where I have an issue with. Now, I'm a full-time single father, just in case you guys are just stumbling up upon this video. My daughter lives with me. But I will say this, I remember when my baby mom was pregnant with our daughter, she was all for it. Like, yes, let's, I want to have a child and this, that, and the third when she found out, and she wanted to keep our daughter. But little did I know that she went behind my back to go to the abortion clinic, and she was going to abort our child, but changed her mind at the last minute because after seeing and hearing the process of how abortion goes, it scared her. And the only reason why I found out is because the guilt got to her, and we were laying in bed, and she would cry day and night about the whole thing. And then she finally confessed what was wrong, and she told me that she was going to abort our daughter without my knowledge of it. And that's the crazy thing. Like, imagine if she did, and I wouldn't have no say about it at all. She can just do it. So that's the thing that I really disagree with when it comes to abortion. That me as a man have no rights. I have no rights at all. I have no say in the matter, and that's the thing that really, really bothers me about the whole abortion thing. And another thing I want to state too is that I'm a man who takes responsibility, especially if the child is 100% mine. I will take care of my child. I will be a father. And I grew up in a household with both a mother and father. I seen examples. I seen the example of what a two-parent household can do. I seen an example of the changes in the impact that a man has on his children's life, a father has on his children's life. And my whole life, I always watched how my father took care of me and my siblings and our mom, and how he go out every day to make sure to provide and protect and secure his family. And that was something I grew up with as a young boy that wanted to imitate that. And now I'm a grown man, and now I was like, oh man, now I can do the same thing. I can be just like my father. I want to be there for my family. I want to be there for my children. And the fact is that I'm going into this knowing that I really have no say whether or not I can be a father or not. That's just damning to me. But anyway, back to the Roe v. Wade situation. This situation really has everybody up in arms, men and women fighting one another about this whole decision of Roe v. Wade being overturned. And it's really nuts, man. And you got to see some of the comments that everybody's saying. And the situation is, I see this as a social experiment at this point. Is because this will allow us to see how the social dynamic between men and women are going to be affected by it, because you already have women already saying that they're not going to sleep with men if they don't have vasectomies, or they don't want to deal with men altogether because of this situation, and back and forth, and it's just crazy. Now the thing is, when it comes to abortion, I call abortion is one of those pillars that change the social dynamic between men and women, and it just changed things culturally. So you have abortion, you have feminism, the sexual revolution, you have all these things that really turn society and flipped it on its head when it comes to the dynamic between men and women. More importantly, abortion, because back then, pre-abortion, you know, women had to be cautious of who they decide to sleep with, and they also had to select the men that were good for them, that were best for them, and not the men that they lust for and desire. And even though that they're bad for them, you know, they knew that, hey, I can't sleep with this man because I know what the outcome is going to be. But ever since abortion came in, the pill came in, sexual revolution came in, more importantly, abortion, a woman is allowed to be more, I could say, promiscuous. A woman is allowed to take more risks and to go after the men that she desire more. And most of the time, it's the men that aren't really good for them. So they go out there, they can make that mistake, and then turn around and just abort the child if push come to shove, you know? So now that the overturning of Roe v. Wade happened, that situation is a little bit different now, especially if you're in a more conservative or Republican, like red state. And that's another thing I want to point out too. There's a lot of people who don't know anything about the situation or know how any of this work. They just going off of what they see on social media and the fair porn that's going on. Abortion is not flat out illegal. All Supreme Court did was just allow that decision to go back to the state, which means the people can now make the decision whether or not that they want their state to push abortion or not. So it's up to the people to pick the representatives of their state to represent their point of view in order for laws to be passed as far as, abortion is concerned, whether it's to protect abortion or to flat out have restrictions on it or ban it altogether. And that's the situation that we're in now. So I know people are saying, well, you could pretty much say that it's been banned is because you have trigger states, which are pretty much states who already have things written up about banning abortion. If Roe v. Wade or was ever to be overturned, they're able to just put it out and just ban it altogether, just trigger it right away. But that still boils down to that people elected representatives in their state who are pro-life, and those pro-life people elected those representatives that to go in and represent their stance, and that's the reason why they're able to ban it, because that's what people wanted. The people voted for it. It's a bummer that if you are a Democrat or if you're on the left and you're in a state that's fully red, then yes, it sucks. But you can say the same thing if you are a conservative or a Republican who lives in a blue state, and everybody had elected representatives who are there, who are pro-choice and are protecting abortion laws, So it's still the same situation here. It's just one side just doesn't agree with it. That's the whole thing about this whole situation. So it's not flat out banned. It's just depending on what states are going to allow it, depending on the representatives that the people have selected. And that's just all what it boils down to. So if you're a person who really are pro-choice, then you're going to have to fight tooth and nail to get the person that you want to be elected in order to change the stances on abortion. It's just that simple. This is how it works. That's how a republic works. This is how it is. This is the way it is. But anyway, back to what I was saying. This is definitely a social experiment to see how men and women will behave moving forward. Is because now women really have to really start vetting out men in order to decide whether or not that this man is viable for her in the long run. And I always say this, and a lot of people have been saying this today. It's been a good quote, a phrase that people have been saying: marry before you carry. If pregnancy and if your body is that important to you, your womb is that important to you, then you should try everything in your power to prevent that, because the act of sex, a pregnancy is the result with the act of sex. So when you have sex with two consenting adults, then the outcome and the potential outcome will be pregnancy. So now you have to be extra cautious. You can't go around sleeping with everyone. And it's not just towards women, it's also towards men, because a lot of you knuckleheads out there that's going around knocking all these chicks up. And if she happens to live in a state where abortion is not allowed, you can't convince her to get rid of that child. You're going to be stuck with that child. So that means there's going to be more baby moms that you're going to have, and you're going to be hit with a lot of child support. So you really have to think about this too, fellas. But back to the ladies, you really have to start vetting out these dudes. Talk to these guys. Find out if his values and his beliefs line up with yours before deciding to lay down with these guys. And the thing is, modern women and just dating modern women in general, just the whole dating environment is just already screwed up as it is. My experience dating women and having sexual encounters with women is that a lot of these women are reckless when it comes to their womb. Like, you don't know how many women have I met where we get into foreplay and then actually about to get into the act of having sex. Not once have they ever asked me if I have a condom. Me, I'm always carrying protection. But the fact is that she's not even concerned whether or not that I have protection on me. It's very troubling. And the fact is that she don't even carry no protection with her. So that means she's willing to take that consequences or take that chance of having sex unprotected. But the fact is that we still have social media and we still have people still trying to lay all the responsibility on men. Well, men need to have self-control, or men need to start protecting themselves and not knocking these women up. But not one time have they ever put some accountability on the women out here. Women are not holding themselves accountable for any of the decisions they make, even when it comes to sex. They say my body, my choice, but yet they leave all the responsibility on the men when it comes to their womb. It makes no sense. It boggles my mind. It doesn't make no sense at all. So this is an interesting situation. Now she's going to have to actually vet out these dudes. Now she's going to have to choose men who are actually good for her, who's actually best for her, rather than going after dudes who she know is not good for her, but she know that he's going to give her a pleasurable experience. So now she has to pick security over pleasure when it comes to choosing her mate. And that's how it always been for a very long time. It's just that now we live in modern society with the sexual revolution and the pill, abortion, and all these other options that women have, and other contraceptions. There's so many contraceptions out there that a woman can choose in order to prevent that. And I know a lot of you going to say, oh well, a contraception is not always 100%. Well, guess what's 100%? Don't have sex. It's that simple. And you have some women saying, well, that's boring. Well, then I don't know what to tell you then. So you're saying that you want pleasure. You picking pleasure then over protecting your womb. Because if you don't want to get pregnant, then you don't have sex, because the overall function of sex is to reproduce. Pleasure is just a byproduct of having sex. But pregnancy is the result of having sex. It's just that we became so advanced in technology, medicine, and in science. Our civilization found ways to reduce, pregnancy while gaining all the benefits of pleasure while participating in the act of having sex. But the overall foundation of sex is to reproduce and create offsprings. So you can't have it all. So if you don't want to get pregnant, you don't want to be a single mom, or you don't want to be and you don't want to be a guy who has a bunch of baby moms, nightmare baby moms, then you really have to be responsibility. Both sides need to have some type of self-control. And this is where we at right now. This is exactly where we at. It resulted to this. And like I said before, things are shifting in society right now. And to me, regardless of how you feel about it, I think this is a good thing. I think this is also going to help both men and women to be a bit more responsible when it comes to this. Because right now, like I said, in the dating environment, it's crazy out here, man. No one is caring about their well-being. No one is caring about their health. No one is caring about anything. People just having all kinds of reckless, irresponsible sex. And this whole sexual revolution where I can just sleep with any man I want, it's all getting out of hand. It's been producing a lot of single moms. It's been producing a lot of baby daddies. It's just been the whole nuclear family has been destroyed because of all this, you know. So now this whole Roe v. Wade thing, I'm kind of excited to see where this is going to go and how men and women are now going to behave, how men and women are now going to approach one another, you know. So that's the crazy thing about it. So, and one guy said one thing: Trojan is about to make some money. Yeah, Trojans, a lot of contraceptive companies are about to make some bread, some mad bread, some mad bread. And because of this, because people want to start really, really thinking about protecting themselves during sex. And also, I want to say to you fellas, because a lot of you guys on my Discord who's been talking to me about things that you're going through, you know, in relationships and just going through with women. A lot of you young fellas out there, man, y'all need to start thinking with your head and not thinking with the other head, because it's kind of crazy how a lot of you fellas out there barely know the chick, met her, and only for like within a week, and then you hitting her up raw, and then get mad at the outcome when she gets pregnant. So, fellas, you really have to be smart. Ladies, you have to be smart. Protect your wounds. Since it's your body, your choice, you need to do a little bit better at protecting your wound and vetting these guys out and vetting these situations. Now, I know a lot of you going to say, well, what if, you know, what about if a woman been raped or this, that, and the third? Look, if you go look at the statistics for Planned Parenthood, rape abortions is about 1%. They don't even make up abortions. And I'm tired of people using that argument to justify the whole abortion situation. Incest and rape is at the very bottom. It's a high percentage of abortions occurring because women just don't want to deal with just using that as a form of birth control. That's crazy. So that's pretty much my overall thoughts about it. I think this is going to be an interesting social experiment to see the changing behaviors between both men and women moving forward, how they approach one another, and see what they value most in the person that they meet, because it's all about the values. So you definitely have to what do you value the most? What do you cherish the most when you're looking for that potential mate, that potential person? So you really have to think about that. And once you figure out what you value most, then you carry yourself accordingly. Especially women out there, your wound is important. It needs to be protected. And you are the gatekeeper of childbirth, and you are the gatekeeper of sex. And you control the mating environment. You dictate the mating environment. And when the moment you change your behavior, men is going to follow through, because men want to procreate with you. So whatever you do and whatever you change and whatever you shift, they're going to adjust towards it in order to be able to procreate with you, you know? And that's how it's always been. It's been like that since the dawn of time. And the reason why things are out of control is because women are now going around doing what they want. And they're going around doing what they want. Dudes are going to do everything in their power and say whatever they do whatever they want in order to get what they want. There's no standards. She said women has no longer set any standards or any boundaries anymore. So as long as she starts setting standards and starts setting boundaries, then men are going to adjust according to those standards and boundaries. So gotta get to it. So that's pretty much it for this video. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and, you know, about this whole Roe v. Wade, and what are your thoughts on abortion? Are you pro-choice? Are you pro-life? Definitely want to hear your thoughts. I know a lot of people ain't going to probably like this video or like what I have to say or like my opinion, but guess what? I don't give a damn. This is my channel and this is my beliefs. You don't have to like what I have to say, but this is what I believe. So definitely leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button and also hit that bell to be notified for more Brian Meets Reality content. This is Brian, signing off. I'll see you guys later, or ladies later. Doesn't matter. Peace out.